Mark chapter 7 verses 31 to 37. The Father willed to give us birth by the word of truth, that we may be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. When the Pharisees with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees and, in fact, all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And, on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there are many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So, the Pharisees and scribes questioned him, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, "Well did Isaiah prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, hearts are far from me, in vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts.' You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition." He summoned the crowd again, and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within, are what defile. From within people, from their hearts, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All these evils come from within, and they defile." This traveled to Decapolis, a Gentile region, which tells us that Jesus offers the hope of salvation to the Gentiles as well as to the Jews. The apostles do not seem to understand that he is the Son of God and the Father's official representative to the world. This miracle is a partial fulfillment of Isaiah 35 verse 2, and verses 5 to 6, which will be completed in the curing of the blind man in Mark 8:22 to 26. Isaiah 35 verse 2, "They will see the glory of the Lord, the splendor of our God." Verse 5, "Then the eyes of the blind shall see, and the ears of the deaf be opened." Isaiah 35 verse 6, "Then will the lame leap like a stag, a male deer, then the tongue of the dumb, mute, will sing." In both healings the afflicted person is brought to Jesus by others. In both healings Jesus takes the afflicted away from the crowd, and in both cases, he touches them, and uses spit from his mouth to cure them. In both healings Jesus requested secrecy. In these two miracles, Mark chapter 7, the deaf, and chapter 8, the blind, shows Jesus as the perfect fulfillment, the promised Messiah of Isaiah's prophecies, and the Savior of the entire world. Consider also that others brought the afflicted to Jesus, just as someone brought you to Jesus and the Church. Your faith in Jesus separates you from the non-believing world, and makes you a better person. Consider also that through the Scriptures, the Word, Jesus touched your heart, through your eyes or the eyes of the reader, and mind. Hearing his word changed you from the spiritually deaf, to a faithful follower whose life has been changed forever. The curing of the spiritually deaf happens every day, but we, like the apostles, tend to overlook it, instead of celebrating it. As we read and ponder the Scriptures, we will experience the sweet whisperings of the Spirit to our souls. Thomas S. Monson.